when I run into rejection. I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Boxes, boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, stop it. Quitting was never an option. Exhausted, exhausted. This passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it. No, you cannot stop it.
Good morning, Knicks universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Knicks Morning Brew on this Monday, May 13th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, hanging out with my compadres this morning. I got my guy Eddie Presti, and I got my guy Phil All Caps. And all you Knicks fans, just know one thing: the season is not over. I know we lost 2 games in a row, and we got blown out by Indiana. But guess what? We got to come back home, and the season is not over. Fellas, how we doing this morning?
I'll let you go first, Eddie.
Okay. Look, if you want me to be totally honest and totally, transparent, I believe that the injuries have finally caught up to this team. Okay, we could withstand. We withstood Randall, we withstood the OG injury in the regular season, we withstood the Bogey injury, we withstood the Mitch injury. Now we're back to the OG injury, right? I don't think we can withstand any more injuries. Okay, I think the OG injury is kind of the Knicks' last stand. We were always next man up, but after OG went down, we don't have enough to pick it up. Now, granted, Indiana's a very good home team. They haven't lost on their home floor the entire playoffs, so you got to give Indy credit where it's due. They're a very good home team. But I just think now this series becomes a best of 2 or 3. I don't think we're going to see OG. I don't think. Maybe in a game 7, it's possible we might or we might not. But I think the injury really hurts the Knicks. I think it's tough because you can't really replace him. It's not like Mitchell Robinson, who, we have iHeart. You have Precious. You have even fucking whatever his name is. You can replace Mitchell Robinson. You cannot replace OG. And the record speaks for itself. And now we're just in, the bottom line. It's you take 2 or 3, you go to game 5, and you hope you get that game 5. It's the Knicks are favored by, I believe, 2.5 points, which is their lowest point total of being favored at the Garden. You take whatever you want out of that. It doesn't matter. But game 5 now becomes a must win. Okay, so that's where I'll land my plane.
Go ahead, Eddie. Phil.
Yeah, so before I do that, I'm going to play the video. I was at the arena last night, and the vibes for Knicks fans were high. When I got there, we were excited to be in the building. We were all connecting. But like Eddie said, within the first 5 minutes of being there, it was like all the air was deflated from all of our tires, as Knicks fans. It was a little bit hard. We won the tip-off. Everyone's going crazy after tip-off. And then it was like a downhill, just like a spiral from there. But I'll play the video so you guys can see that Knicks fans were in the building. Shout out to everybody that subscribed to the channel yesterday while at the game. I'll play that real quick, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And as you guys are watching the video, hit the reaction on the bottom right part of the chat. Just smack the reaction button. Go ahead, Phil. Can't hear the audio.
What happened?
We can't hear it.
Nothing.
Can't hear the audio.
No.
Weird. That's awkward.
Can you upload it into our video section?
Let me try.
Into the video clips where we have our intros and stuff. Just hit brand, go to video clips, and on the bottom of it is to say add video clip and just upload it there.
Let me try. So I'll come back to that as I try to put that up there. But pretty much what I want to talk about is it was unfortunate to have that kind of game. It was unfortunate to see what ended up becoming of our New York Knicks in that, in that game. They looked gassed from the get-go. There was just no effort. Like, it just wasn't, and I'm thankful that we have guys that take accountability, and that no one's coming up with excuses. No one's trying to blame shift, anything like that. But it was hard to watch in the building, because all of us in the crowd are seeing every single time Halliburton's wide open for a three or Neesmith is open for a three. And we're just like, where are our guys? Like, no one is closing out. No one is like moving on the pick and roll. It was like, as soon as they put any, stoppage in front of our guys, it was like the play was over for our team at that point. So it was a little frustrating. But one thing I want to say is, an unfortunate situation's an unfortunate situation, okay? But if I get like a broken nail on my finger, yet I act like I just lost a limb, that's a little bit extreme. And I feel like that's the way that Knicks fans are acting right now. Like, yes, it was a horrible, horrible game. But someone reminded me, hey, Phil, keep your head up. Remember, the freaking Cavaliers lost by like 38 or something like that to the Magic and then destroyed them the rest of the series after that. So knowing that we have fighters, knowing that when a Jalen Brunson like leaves the court pointing at Siakam saying it's a long effing series, that means Jalen Brunson, is going to fight. That means that those guys are going to come out to fight. I do agree with Eddie. I do believe this next game is a must-win game. I don't want to let it go to 7. And I would rather us win this game, get the energy behind us that we need, and then go back into Indiana and close it out in Indy. I'm going to be at that game as well. So that's another selfish reason I want it to close out in Indy. But let me pull up the video real quick. Here it is. So as you can see, the highlight reel, once the game actually started, was very, very minimal because I had nothing to record. My camera was burning a hole in my pocket because I had nothing to record. So shout out to the people that were out there. They were the redeeming factor of the game. Shout out to Ian Begley. Got to connect with him at the game as well. And him, and I don't know if you guys follow Gotham Glory account, a whole bunch of like hoodie vintage stuff. Those two guys linking with them after, talking to them for so long was the bonus of the game. But shout out to the Knicks fans that were there. Shout out to the ones that went and got drinks with me after to drown our sorrows. But yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, and I want to shout out the chat before we continue. Shout out to my guy Rock NY Hot Takes is in the building. My guy Cello is in the building. Cello, how you doing? CT Pittman's in the building, rocking out with us. CT, how you doing? Our friend Dream Shake is in the building. Dream, how you doing? And I was waiting for Phil and Eddie to give their take before I gave my take, because what are we doing here? What we do? This is not a funeral. Are we at a funeral right now? Because when you look at it, yes, we lost 121-89. Jalen Brunson only had 18 points. Dante DiVincenzo only had 7 points. Josh Hart only had 2 points. If you give Dante DiVincenzo an extra 15 points, if you give Jalen Brunson an extra 15 points, and Josh Hart an extra 10 points, that's 40 points unaccounted for. We didn't lose that game because of OG Anunoby not being in the lineup. We lost that game because Jalen Brunson didn't show up. We lost that game because Dante DiVincenzo, he didn't show up to score. Josh Hart didn't show up to score. The first 5 minutes of the game were horrible because we couldn't put no points on the board. It's easy for Indiana to build their momentum when we're hitting zero donuts. Jalen Brunson was 0 for 6 from the field to start the game. It was disgusting. Dante DiVincenzo could have hit the side of a fucking barn in yesterday's game to start the game. We didn't lose that game because we didn't have OG Anunoby. We lost that game because our guys didn't show up. Jalen Brunson only had 18 points for the game.
Yeah, and I think I think that's the concerning part.
Percentages don't lie. You're completely right. I mean, I think we shot 33% and 18% from three. So you're 100% right.
Josh Hart 1 of 6 from the field. Dante DiVincenzo 3 of 13 from the field. Jalen Brunson 6 of 17 from the field. We could have OG Anunoby. We could have Julius Randle. We could have Mitchell Robinson. We could have my grandmother on the sideline giving coquito to people. We're not winning any games if that's how Jalen Brunson, Dante, and Josh Hart perform. I don't care who's there. Willis Weed could be there with his fucked up ankle, and we're still not winning that game.
Yeah. Hector, they didn't play all 4 quarters either. So they got to keep that in mind.
No, but what I'm saying, the game was over after the first 5 minutes.
No
of the game.
shit.
The game was over, and that's what I'm saying. If our guys would have showed up those first 5 minutes of the game, we're having a different conversation. We almost beat them in game 3. We had the lead by 10 points in the fourth quarter, and what happened? A fucking lucky shot is the game winner. That's the difference maker, and that's with no OG Anunoby. So I don't think this game is over. I personally think now it's going to go 7 games. Phil, I know for selfish reasons you wanted to close out in 6 because you're a selfish bastard. But me, I think it's going to go 7 games.
I agree.
Here's the concern for me, though, because the numbers were way off, like you said, Hector. But the weird thing is that when you're watching it live, it wasn't for lack of trying. And I was talking to a few people during halftime. The concerning part is that Jalen's performance last night was because he was doing everything he normally does, or at least trying to. But if you watch, it was all in his arms. All the shimming and trying to fake was all in the arms. His legs were not moving. His legs are not what they need to be from that calf injury. Like, or whatever the injury, his legs are not 100%. And we were all kind of just chatting about it. Like, that's concerning, and the fact that unfortunately the West Coast gets for some reason, they got 3 days in between when they had a break between their game. We only continue to get 2. And I think that's going to be an issue. I think other people need to step up so that Jalen Brunson doesn't feel like he has to play the superhero ball, because CJ Jiggo was a huge Superman fan growing up, still is. And one thing you noticed was Superman, but when he gets hit with kryptonite, it doesn't matter if his mind is still Superman. He's still under, a limitation of what he can do. Even though he wants to be able to still be, the Cape Crusader, he can't really do that because of the kryptonite that's in front of him. And I feel like that's what Jalen Brunson's dealing with right now. Cape Crusader's Batman, ain't it? I think I screwed that one up. But yeah, I saw. I was like, comic book instructor over here.
I'm glad you knew that was me.
We hear as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, Hector's gonna reprimand me here, either on air or off air. But so I feel like that's what Jalen Brunson's dealing with. I feel like that leg is really hurting him, and I think that's going to be an issue if we don't have other guys step up and help him out and take that burden off of his shoulder for at least that next game. Because it was rough. I think at the first half, I was counting, it was 20 points maybe combined of the 3 Villanova boys in that first half, and that's not going to win games. And our defense was rough. And Miles McBride is somewhere, but he's not on the court right now. Every single shot, even when he played with the scrubs in the fourth quarter, he could not score at all. So there are concerns for me. So I understand fans being concerned, but I also know the resilience of these guys. I also know what I've seen all season. So I can't give up and be like, oh, we're done, because I don't believe that.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eddie.
I'm saying I don't know if we're done, but if you don't think we're in trouble, you guys aren't paying attention. The Knicks are in big trouble right now. Well, if you don't believe that, then you're just living in denial. And I think a lot of Knicks fans, after OG went down, lived in denial. And they said, oh, it's next man up mentality. Oh, don't worry. No. OG went down. He's the heart and soul of our team. He's been the heart and soul of our team since Randall went down. Okay.
Heart and soul of the team is a bit of a stretch.
Okay. But he's been, other than Jalen Brunson, he's probably been the most.
We missed half of the games with Julius Randle. Joji Anunoby didn't play half of
I understand, but when he's played, he's been the second most important Knick on this team.
Absolutely.
And now we're down to fucking 5 or 6 guys, and you're missing fucking Mitch. You're missing Bogdanovic, and everybody just glosses over this shit. Oh, okay, next man up. No, we're down to 6 or 7 fucking guys, and we lost OG Anunoby. That's a big problem. It's a big problem, and you have to face that. And that's why this fucking series is going to go 7 games. If you don't believe that, you're in some sort of denial. And the Pacers right now, everybody wrote off the Pacers after the first 2 games like they suck. They don't suck. They're a fucking good team. Everybody's healthy. They run up and down the fucking floor like maniacs. All right? And I get it. Yesterday, throw it out the window. I'm cool with that. All right? But we lost game 3. No matter you.
On a lucky shot.
But we
on a lucky shot.
Most of those games
on
we
a
win.
Lucky
we
shot,
win.
Eddie.
It wasn't just lucky.
We didn't lose
Hector,
that game because our coach got out coached. We
Hector,
didn't lose that game. We didn't lose that
shots
game
in that fourth quarter. 4 fucking shots.
And that's not Indiana beating us. That's not Indiana beating us. That's us beating us. Is that Indiana beating us? Eddie, you said we made Eddie, right or wrong? Did we make only 4 shots in that fourth quarter?
You know it's right.
Yes. Okay. Is that Indiana beating us, or is that us beating us, not knocking down our shots?
They weren't much better if they shot like fucking.
I didn't ask that question.
They weren't much better. I'm just saying we had a chance to win.
Did we
fucking
lose that, Eddie? Question. Just entertain
because you're gonna ask questions that fucking make you win the argument. No,
I'm not asking questions to win the argument. I'm asking you a question so you can clarify it. My question is, did we lose that game because Indiana outplayed us, or did we lose that game because we didn't hit our shots when we needed to hit our shots?
Indiana outplayed us. And
Indiana outplayed us?
Yes.
Copy. Indiana outplayed us in that
fourth
quarter.
You remember we talked about this.
Here's the thing.
About Hector with the offensive rebounds and all this other shit after we went live the other night. You weren't wrong. You weren't wrong.
I weren't wrong. And they beat us on a lucky shot. Even with all of that, it was a lucky step back 3.
Neymar also had that layup that everybody forgets about. Everybody forgets about the layup.
Guys,
even with all that, it was a lucky 3. Go ahead, Ed. Go ahead, Phil.
Here's the thing. You both are spitting truth just at each other differently. Like, at the end of the day, we lost that game. Doesn't matter how we lost that game. We lost that game. You know, the offensive rebounds, you know, like Devin said up here, the offensive rebounds cost us that, you know, because at the end of the day, if we would have got those offensive rebounds, they couldn't have taken that lucky shot. So when it comes to that part of the game, whether they made that shot or not, they outplayed us in those last few minutes, grabbing those offensive rebounds. That's what won them the game because they had multiple chances to get that shot off. Okay. Moving forward, the concerning part should not be game 3 because we've had games where it's been close with them and we've taken it. So that shouldn't be a concern. That game's a wash, in my opinion. My concern was last night's game because that's the only game in the series on either side that has been a blowout. That's the only game that has been a blowout. We have not blown them out at all, and they've blown us out badly last night. And it's not because they're a better team, in my opinion, because they're not. Like, their players are not better than we are. However, with the loss of OG, it brings a deficiency to our roster, unfortunately, because they are at almost full health. You know, they posted something. One of their fans was like, the Knicks need to remember that we're missing a player who averages 15 points on the season. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're talking about how you're missing a 15-point scorer?
Rather.
Yeah. No.
Mathurin. There's Mathurin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm like, okay, you guys are missing a 15-point game scorer. We're missing Randall, OG, Mitch, Bogey. So the next man up mentality has been a beautiful mindset for the New York Knicks all season. However, when your next man is someone that hasn't played all season, because let's be honest, we don't have any more men. The men that we have left are the ones that Thibodeau's not going to play. So you have games like yesterday where Miles McBride can't hit anything, yet he's still out there because we don't have any other options. Where Dante is cold as can be, but we can't really sub him out because his substitute is Miles McBride, who is shooting just as bad, if not worse than he is. So we've kind of run out of options, and that's the concern, and I'm not on this whole, Tom Thibodeau plays his players, too long, No, there's players that are playing these kind of numbers throughout the league to win a series. Like Monica McNutt deaded that conversation yesterday or this morning in one of her interviews. But the concern is that these guys have no option but to play those kind of minutes, even if they're playing poorly, because everybody is injured. That's the sucky part. Is that Tibbs really doesn't have anybody else that he can pull from, and that's concerning.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right.
But at the end of the day, I gotta believe that Jalen Brunson is going to come back. I got to believe that Jalen Brunson is going to show out in this next game. I still believe that we take this series. Like that I'm not pivoting from that at all. Like I still think that the grit and the grind that we have from Brunson, Dante, and Hart and Hartenstein, that we're still going to win, especially if Burks can. I don't know why Burks has to wait till everybody is piss poor to have like a 20-point game out of nowhere. But if Burks could actually do that on a night where players are playing well, then that is hopeful. My concern is not now. My concern is next series. Because as depleted as we are, with Jalen still dealing with some of that stuff with the leg, my concern is what happens next if we advance, so prayers that OG can come back and be part of that series. But at the end of the day, you gotta rock with your team, these guys have shown that they're fighters, that they were told many things. They were told that they couldn't be where they're at right now. And we are, so for those reasons alone, I'm a bank on it, you guys are my guys, so if something seems out of pocket or out of character and someone tells me something about you guys, I'm not going to just believe that one incident, because I've known you guys long enough to know your character, your personality, our relationship. I'm a rock with the history of who you guys are, not what happened in one situation. And that's what I'm going to do with my Knicks.
Again, we lost yesterday's game. It wasn't because of OG Anunoby not being in the lineup. We lost yesterday's game because Jalen Brunson didn't score, Dante DiVincenzo didn't score, and Josh Hart didn't score. That it came down to that. We lost the game within the first 5 minutes because we couldn't hit a bucket. Jalen Brunson was 0 for 6 from the game from the field to start the game. Like that. That's how we lost the game. Once they punched us in the mouth, we couldn't answer them. Point blank. Period.
But don't you think, Hector, there was sort of a mental lapse almost with the Knicks? I felt like after they lost that last fourth quarter, it was almost a carryover into yesterday's game. It was a carryover effect. And I felt like they couldn't recover. I felt like they got punched in the mouth in that fourth quarter, and they never quite recovered after that. And I felt like that was a carryover into the first quarter of yesterday's game. And I felt like Phil said, the weight was on Brunson. The weight was on all these guys to carry the team and step up. And Brunson's fucking hurt. He's hurt. He's hurt. We saw it. Phil's right. He doesn't get the lift. He's all upper body.
Yeah. But Brunson's not the only person hurt in this postseason, though. Every team is dealing with injuries. Everybody is hurt right now.
Not like us,
There's not one. Milwaukee just got eliminated because Dame and Giannis wasn't playing.
I'm saying who's left. I'm saying who's left.
Well, it's kind of easy to say who's left when they were already eliminated, when their two
But-
superstars were.
But here's the
injured.
concern.
It's what I'm saying.
If you look, where's Milwaukee? They're out. Why?
Yeah.
Because the guys that normally put up 30 to 40 points couldn't put up 30 to 40 points.
Exactly.
And so that's the concern with Brunson. And because you look at the shots, all front of the rim. You look at the layups, the floaters, all front of the rim. You look at the hezzies. His top is moving left and right. Like he's Harlem shaking up top, but his legs are doing the white boy, you know?
I just think it was just one of those games that Jalen Brunson was just off. It's just like the first round
He was
versus
up in game
Philadelphia.
3 too, Hector.
I was just about to say it was just like the first round against Philadelphia. He had those 2 first games to start the series. Horrible. Jalen Brunson has these peaks during the season where he has 2 weeks in a row where he's on fire, averaging close to 30 points and killing it. And then you have a couple of games where he relapses and comes back down to earth. Hopefully these last 2 games are those games for us that he came back down to earth, but going forward, he's able to rebound like he did against Philadelphia in game 3 and game 4.
But let's not give the Pacers the same respect defensively that the 76ers had. You know, the 76ers were playing solid D on Jalen Brunson, double, triple teaming him at times with length. That was causing the first 2 games of Jalen Brunson's first series trying to figure out how to score on them, where he had the hesitation in scoring. This wasn't because of good defense yesterday. Like,
you don't think Indiana's playing good defense on Jalen Brunson? I think they're playing phenomenal defense. He can hardly have movement with the ball. He hardly has spaces to
look
drive.
at his legs. Like, you gotta watch. Like, it's not that they're playing solid. Like, the defense isn't bad, but Jalen Brunson's unable to move the way Jalen Brunson normally moves. His footwork is not his footwork right now. And I'm not going to name names, but there are people that are part of the organization that were part of the conversation yesterday with me at halftime that are talking about his legs are not moving the way that his legs normally move. Like, so no, I'm not going to say that they are playing just as good defense as the 76ers did in the first 2 games against him. Are they playing better defense than they normally did?
I disagree. I think the defensive schemes that they put it on Jalen Brunson, they even go back to when we won the first 2 games of the series, they was playing solid defense before Jalen Brunson injured his foot. I think the defense that Indiana is playing, I think people are not giving them respect. They're playing phenomenal defense right now in the postseason.
They're beating us at our own game.
They're putting big bodies on Jalen Brunson. The same thing that Philadelphia did. They put big bodies on Jalen Brunson. Kelly Oubre was a big body. They have this big guy guarding Jalen Brunson right now who's a shooting guard. That's a big body that they have on Jalen Brunson. And then you got TJ McConnell picking up Jalen Brunson from the opposite side of the half-court line. Can't tell me they're not playing phenomenal defense on Jalen Brunson. He's sticking on Jalen Brunson like a mosquito in Florida.
Again, you're talking about. Go ahead, Phil, if you want to go.
No, I'm just saying I disagree. Like, I was 14, 15 rows away from the basket watching Jalen Brunson, like, constantly trying to, like, fake people out with his shoulders last night. Like, I watched it for a whole quarter, 2 quarters of basketball on our side, right behind the basket, watching his legs not do a single thing. So for me, yes, they may be playing good defense, especially compared to what they played in the playoffs. But I mean, in the season. But I do not think their defense is to the standard that Jalen Brunson could not break them down if Jalen Brunson's legs were working. Like, I do not believe that.
I think there's one thing we could all agree on. Since he hurt that foot, he's not been the same player, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Phil, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so
I'm not disagreeing on that.
We can't even say, the defense, this, that, and the other. The guy hurt his foot. We all know since he's hurt that foot, he's a different player. He's not the guy we saw scoring 40 points in a row for 4 games in a row. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I agree with you, Hector, that they've been playing phenomenal defense on Brunson. But I also agree with Phil with the fact that this guy's not right. He's not right. It's clear as day. He is not right.
Yeah,
so
I never said he was right. I never said he was 100%. I never said that he wasn't compromised.
Stop it. Again, I think,
but in the postseason,
base.
but the postseason is a game of adjustments. And when it comes to Jalen Brunson, and I keep on saying this, Jalen Brunson has the highest IQ in the entire NBA right now. It is a game of adjustments. So I'm looking for Jalen Brunson to make those adjustments, like he made the adjustments against Philadelphia, like he made the adjustments against Indiana in the last few games. He was horrible in yesterday's games, disgusting in yesterday's game. But in game 3, he was more of a facilitator, and that's what we need Jalen Brunson to be. If everybody else is knocking down their shots, if Dante is knocking down his shots, it's not easy for you to double team Jalen Brunson like you was able to double team him yesterday if Dante is knocking down those shots. If Dante's a threat, it's not that easy to double or triple team Jalen Brunson, is what I'm saying. So pointing out the fact that Jalen Brunson's IQ is what made Jalen Brunson the player that he is today. It's not his athleticism, it's because of his basketball IQ. And I think in the postseason, game of adjustments, I look at my point guard coming back in the next game adjusted. If not, then we're in big trouble. If Jalen Brunson doesn't make the adjustments he needs to make going forward, we're not passing Indiana. If Jalen Brunson is off his game, even if he was healthy, if he was off his game, we're not passing Indiana.
But he's not the same player. This guy's foot is hurt.
And I said, even if he was healthy, if he wasn't making adjustments, we're not passing Indiana, is what I'm saying. So it's all about him being able to see the defense, make the adjustments, and give what they're and take what they're giving him.
But we don't know going into game 5 if this guy's going to be all right. You don't know. We don't know. And if he's still hurt, I got news for you. We're going to be fucked. We're going to be fucked. I still believe the Knicks could still push this to the game 7, and game 7's a fucking flip of a coin. But if Brunson is hurt, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but the series is fucking over. It is. You got to be real.
No.
If he's hurt, if that foot's hurt, and he comes back playing like he did the last 2 games, it's a wrap.
If he comes back playing like he did the last 2 games, not if he's injured. That's the thing. He could be injured and still have better performances than he had yesterday and the night before. And that's the point that I'm trying. And that's the point that I'm trying to emphasize here. Jalen Brunson is not this great player because his athleticism. Jalen Brunson doesn't jump out the gym. Jalen Brunson is a smart and relies heavily on his basketball IQ, being able to manipulate the defense. And if you can't make the game of adjustments in the postseason, make your adjustments, you're not going to win many games. It doesn't matter who you have on the court. You have to make your adjustments. And CP pointed out in the chat, it's not just about Jalen Brunson and making baskets. Where about defensive schemes? Why are we getting beat on the defensive side of the ball?
They're beating us at our own game, okay? They're beating us on the glass, all right? They're beating us at points in the paint. They're killing us from fucking free throws. They're absolutely fucking destroying us from free throws. You want to talk percentages about field goal percentages? Obviously, yesterday, they fucking destroyed us there, okay? But those little things, like the rebounds, like the second chance points, like getting points on fast breaks, like, getting points in the paint. When we do that, we win. And that's Brunson's game. Brunson's game is to get into that paint and score. And he hasn't been doing it. And
here's the thing.
Beating us as a whole, not just with Brunson. As a whole, they're beating us collectively by doing things we do against us.
Yeah. My thought is this, is if you look all around the league, whether people love him or hate him, what is one thing that they talk about Jalen Brunson's, his elite footwork? Like, it's his elite footwork that gets him to the basket. It's his elite footwork that draws a double team that allows him to then distribute. It's his elite footwork that sets him leaps and bounds over all these other players. Mm-hmm. The elite footwork's not there right now, and that's hurting us. And the problem is if the elite footwork's not there and the lift isn't there for the shot, why are you continuing to shoot when you're shooting 34, 35% in the game? Like, your footwork's not helping you get to the basket. Your foot is not allowing you to have enough lift to score and shoot away from the basket. So to still be continuing to throw shots up instead of trying to find another way to contribute to the team is going to hurt us. it's going to hurt us because his fundamentals are great. Like, you look at the way that he can draw a double team on a drive and then dish it out. That's beautiful, but he's not getting to do any of that stuff. So he's got to stop acting like the footwork is still there and find another way to contribute if the foot's hurting him. Find another way to get the assist there. Find another way to help his team score. Find other ways to play. Because when he hurt himself in that game, he did find little ways. Like he would rotate to the defender that he didn't really need to play defense on. They were finding ways to let him play, but still not be the main person. And I think that if he's not going to be, back in this next game with the footwork, that we have to find another solution. And that's on Tibbs. Find another way for your main guy to contribute. Like, would he have more lift from the 3-point line if he wasn't putting so much effort in trying to drive, like for 3 plays before that? Is it better to get 1 3-pointer out of Jalen Brunson than 4 mediocre attempts at a bucket? Like, what are the ways to kind of pivot from the normal to still have Jalen Brunson contribute?
Yeah, I want to throw it over to Celso because he joined us late this morning. Celso, my guy, good morning. How you doing?
I'm good, guys. I'm actually, not upset, not, crying about stuff. Like, let's be real. There's a couple people that should be really pissed off about last night. Okay? Certain groups. Number one, those of you that constantly want to yell Knicks in 4. Sorry. Those of you that want to yell Knicks in 5. Sorry. It's okay. You can be upset. You were wrong, right? Eddie, you know how I am. That's why I never do the Knicks in 5. Knicks. No, I've always say Knicks win. Get me to the championship. That's all I care. You can't preach Knicks in 6 and then be mad when you lose a game. You got to lose something to get that Knicks in 6. Like, you realize that's how it works, right? I think why people are so upset, man, and let's be real, we haven't seen a back-to-back loss all season like this. And on top of it, we got punched in the mouth. We did. And it goes back to what we were talking about the other day, guys. Yes, as fans, we stay high and we're excited about what our team can do. But anybody that was sitting here downplaying the OG injury, saying that we wouldn't see a bigger challenge, OG missing affects everybody. Yeah. Josh Hart gets to be the level of Josh Hart that we've seen when OG is on the floor. You get to see a lot of that movement because OG takes up all those areas and those spaces. So we knew with him gone, it was going to be a challenge. And then on top of it, we're in Indiana where that team actually performs well at home. Guys, it was the last round when we passed that we went into it. We all said we wouldn't be surprised if we saw a game where they did what they did best, put up crazy freaking points. Well, guess what? It happened last night, yesterday. It sucked. You know who should be really mad? The moms that had to deal with cranky-ass dad Knicks fans after that loss on Mother's Day, okay? That's who we should be apologizing to those moms. I'm not upset. We got punched in the mouth. This team handles it. We can sit here and talk about, and the way they take responsibility and, okay, great. We've heard it all. Yes, we know they say the right things. Forget the words. They'll come out tomorrow, and we protect the Garden like we're supposed to. The Mecca is our home. Let's do what we got to do. And look, I even made the graphic. Protect the Mecca at all costs. I'm not stressing, guys. We got punched in the mouth, and we bounce back. And on that note, my next interview is in 10 minutes. I digress.
I'll say this. Shout out to the Pacer fans that were there last night. And I say that because I sat in a flood of Pacer fans. And there was no drama. We were joking with each other. We were laughing with each other, poking at each other. Like, it was just a good time. Matter of fact, the guy next to me, his son won one of those 3-point shooting contests, during one of the commercials. And his son came back up, and we were talking, hanging out, da-da-da-da-da. They were totally respectful, totally supportive of Knicks Morning Brew, everything like that. The father left and gave me a hug. Was like, hope you have a great rest of your trip. Sorry about the loss. Just really, really, really nice people. And then we went out to the cocktail bar, me and a few of the Knicks fans from Knicks Twitter, and they came up to us. They're like, hey guys, so sorry. What can we get you? We know it hurt, but we're all good. You guys are welcome here. So shout out to the Pacer fans and the Pacer community in that arena for, letting us have a loss without kind of rubbing our faces in it last night.
Phil, I had a Pacer fan in the positivity thing. He said, man, I can't talk shit to you guys. He's so positive in the morning. You know, he
Two-
tuned in this morning thinking it was a Knicks brew. He was ready to throw some shade in that morning show. He was like, "Oh man, y'all are positive and fun." So,
two things I want to point out. Right, Indiana still has horrible tourist attractions. They're still a horrible place to go on vacation. That's one. And I know Phil is
They have
struggling
kayaking.
he's they got kayaking. I think they have a rock museum also. Right, and the second thing I wanted to point out, Phil. Just to let you know, Superman is not affected by kryptonite all the time. All right. Superman run 2033 in 1971. A device was made to remove the radioactive properties from kryptonite. That's one. And also, whenever Superman is around a yellow sun, the cells in his body absorb the yellow sun energy, and he's not affected by kryptonite, just so you know.
Hey, guess what? I said CJ was the junkie, all right? I don't give a crap about I don't give a crap about the man in tights.
Also, just so you know, not only kryptonite is Superman's weakness, Superman can't do anything against magic. That's why he sucks against Black Adam. There you go, Celso.
Thank you. Hey, listen, you know I sign up for a Superman conversation all day long. Let's go. I saw people that think Celso's all kumbaya this morning, and he just erupts here in the Porto panel. Look, we made it a rule. We talk about in the morning where I hold my Knicks takes till 11 a.m. All right. I'm not going to use them in the morning positivity show. But, you know, like I said, guys, yes, it's easy and it's understandable. The ones that are really stressing it out. Right. And Eddie, people can throw the shade at Eddie when Eddie says what he says, but at the end of the day, like Phil said, all sides are speaking facts, though. There was issues, and Eddie calls them out, right? But no, I'm sorry, there's no world, heck. If Tibbs can go back and look at some of those adjustments in that game, like it's so hard to even break everything down because it was such a shit show. Go ahead, Eddie.
If the Knicks lose this series, is this season a failure?
If the Knicks lose this series, I'm going down to Florida and I'm fighting you.
Okay. But
how about that?
Is the season a failure if they lose the series?
I will stab you and steal your kidney if the Knicks lose.
I stick with
my
answer from the other day.
I'm gonna say no.
Yep.
No, Phil.
No.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say no.
No, Eddie.
Because I look at the situation. You know, like at the end of the day, we are still the 2 seed, competed in the second round of the playoffs without four guys. And 3 of those guys were actual starters. Like, I don't know any other team that could have done that. Like, I don't. Like, I do not know another team that could have done what we did with the injuries at hand. Like, I just don't understand how we even pulled it off. So I'm going to say no, I wouldn't consider it a failure. A disappointment to me? Yeah, you know, because I was really hoping to be able to have this be like one of the seasons that I can really hang my head on as a Knicks fan and be like, holy crap, I've been waiting for this. But no, I wouldn't call it a failure at all.
I would say it's a failure, not because of the product on the court. I would say it's a failure because of how we lost and more because of the injuries. If we don't advance or we don't beat the Pacers and get to the next round, it's a failure not because of our team, not because of our players, it's because of the injuries and how we got eliminated. We got eliminated because we don't have our full roster. It's not because our team is not good enough. It's just we don't have all of our guys ready to go to war. That's the reason why. And I think it's a failure because as a Knicks fan, when you take the step out, you take your Knicks goggles off, you put them to the side, take a step back and look outside the box. Yes, this team has improved. Yes, second seed and stuff like that. But we already know if the Knicks don't advance, you already know the blue check marks. You already know the ESPN talking heads, the FS1 talking, all you Knicks fans that were talking all that big, where you at right now, you already know. So as a selfish Knicks fan, I want us to advance because I don't want Shaq to talk shit. I don't want Charles Barkley to talk shit. I don't want any of those Knicks haters on ESPN or FS1 or any of those blue check marks, Bill Simmons and his big ass head. I don't want any of them to be able to make fun of us this entire offseason. And you guys know if we lose to the Pacers, we're going to have to hear this for the next 6 months. Bill Simmons and his dumbass, all these ESPN dumbass talking heads, we're going to have to hear them all talking about our team and dragging our name through the mud for the next 6 months. And that's something that I want to avoid.
But that's the thing is, I feel like those people are talking now, even while we're winning, you know? So like,
and I don't want them talking more, and I'm upset now. I don't want to hear them no more.
Like
Phil.
I ignore them as it is, you know? So for me, I'm not going to let them deem it as a failure, because here's the thing: for them to say that we should have never been here, or that we won't get here, and then they're going to say we're a failure because we didn't execute when got here, that just shows them being foolish and constantly moving the goalpost to what calls a Knick a failure at this season. You know, the fact that you had to say we won't, make it as a play-in team. Okay, now you moved it. Oh, now we won't make it past the first round if we play the 76ers. Oh, now we're a failure if we lose because we're injured with 4 guys now and we didn't make it past the like that. Just to me makes them look stupid and foolish. So I'm like, talk your talk, like, because every single month you've had to revamp your thought of what a failure was for the Knicks because we debunked that.
I just want to point something. I'll throw it over to you, Eddie, real quick. CP, the artist, says the 37th law of power: don't give power to what people think. Well, if that was the case, why the fuck do we have defamation lawsuits where people could sue people because of what they said about them? Go ahead, Eddie.
All right. So last year we got to the second round. We lost to Miami Heat in 6. Last year, Julius Randle was hurt the entire playoffs, so we dealt with injuries last year. This year, this is staying on topic, if the Knicks lose, we lost because of injuries. So that's 2 years in a row where we lost because of 2 main cogs going down in our lineup each season. It was Randall last year, and I'm going to say it was OG this year. So that begs the question, does this starting lineup need to be improved? Because 2 years in a row, we got to the second round, and this is only if we lose. We got to the second round and lost. Are these guys injury prone? Are we taking the same blueprint of what the LA Clippers do every year? They get to the playoffs, people think they're going to come together and be great, and then they just break down like a fucking clunker every year. So, but that begs the question that has to be mentioned here. Can these fucking guys stay healthy? Randall showed he hasn't stayed healthy 2 seasons in a row. And since we got OG, it's been 50-50. I just want to throw that out there. I think.
Well, hold on, but I think you also got to throw the caveat. That was a freak shoulder injury that happened to Julius Randle.
But it still happened.
But it's a freak injury. He didn't pull his calf or he didn't strain his calf like OG Anunoby. That's a freak shoulder injury. 9 times out of 10, or even 1 in a million chance you fall like that. That's only happening.
But
1
it
in a million
happens,
times.
Hector.
But you're acting like this is something we've dealt with Julius Randle every year since he's been here. He's played the most minutes in the NBA ever since signing with the New York Knicks. He has been Mr. Iron Man. Last year, it was his ankle that was fucked up, and he still was playing in the postseason, and he still played. What we're missing right now, we didn't even have OG Anunoby. We didn't even have Julius Randle. We didn't even have Mitchell Robinson. So it's more players this year that are injured than it was last year.
I think what Eddie's saying is not that he's not Iron Man. Is not that he didn't play all these games. I think what Eddie's trying to say is you have to look at history. The history of the team. Like, does Bogey have a history of injury? Check. Yes, he does. Does Mitch have a history of injury? Check. Yes. You're shaking your head. No. Yes, he does. Does
Wait, what are you talking about? Who's shaking your head?
Oh, I thought you shook your head when I said Bogey.
I was paying attention to the chat.
Oh, okay. So Bogey, history of injury? Yes. Mitch, history of injury? Yes. OG, history of injury? Yes. Like, those are 3 guys that for sure have a history of injury. Then you look, okay, Julius Randle, been our Iron Man, but last year, enough of an injury that required surgery, okay? And it wasn't like just anything minor, it was on the foot. So, okay, we always talk about like very aggressive style players with a history of a foot injury is concerning, Then now you add the shoulder to it. Now it's not just one thing that has a history of needing surgery. Now he's got 2 things that, so Eddie's point is not, are these guys warriors? They are. Obviously, they come out, they fight for us, but that's 4 guys, 3 that are considered starters that have a history of injury, reoccurring injuries. So where do we move forward with that? If it looks like our season, so the year before, we say our postseason was plagued, and a huge contributor to us losing was the Randall injury. That was one. Now our postseason is getting detoured by 4 injuries. So now we've gone from 1 plaguing us to 4 plaguing us in the playoffs. So moving forward into next season, is that a concern? Do we move forward with 4 potential injuries reoccurring into next season, or is that something that the front office looks at? Obviously, it's not up to us, but those are, like concerns, like, okay, these continue to be an issue. Like with 1 player, it's that's a concern, but we're okay. But when you have multiples, you see what we're struggling with now, with lack of actual players to pull from the bench because of the history of those injuries and it continuing to happen. So so both points are true. Yes, those guys are warriors, but
that's
does
not
them
my
being
point.
warriors make us ignore that?
But that's not my point that I was making. My point that I was making was Eddie saying he pointed to the one Julius Randle injury from last year. This year, it was like you pointed out, it was 4 separate injuries. So it'd be a different thing if we had Julius Randle and his ankle 2 seasons back to back being the reason why we didn't advance. That's not the reason. That's not the reason why. He had his surgery for his ankle. His ankle was good throughout the whole season. It was a freak injury. He fell because Jaime Jaquez low bridged him. That's why he's out right now. It was a freak injury that occurred. It would be, like I said, it'd be a different conversation if it was 2 seasons back to back that Julius Randle's ankle is the reason why he's not in the postseason. No, once he came back from his ankle surgery and once he got back into things, he was back into his Julius Randle all-team form. Was he not?
He was.
Hector,
all right,
right.
But what I'm saying is it will be if it was the same ankle injury 2 seasons in a row, then you could be like, listen, I'm not sure if this man is somebody we could count on going forward, but it wasn't. It was his ankle injury last year that he got surgery, and it was a freak low bridge that Jaime Jaquez did in the middle of the season.
But he could be like a car with a lot of miles on it. Other parts of you, when you have a lot of miles on your car, after a while, other things start breaking down.
Yes, his injury last year was his ankle, right?
Correct.
It's not his knee. You can have that argument if it was his knee. It was a part of his body that are not connected. His shoulder and his ankle aren't connected. If it was his knee, I could hear that argument because that means his knee is compromised because of his ankle. That's a different conversation, but it's not his knee. It's not even his hip. It was his shoulder that he fell on. So yes, like you said, the analogy with the car is perfect because if you have a carburetor that's fucked up, that could mess up your transmission if you keep on riding with a fucked up carburetor because they're both connected. But the ankle and the shoulder aren't connected the same way. The ankle and the knee, the ankle and the hip. So that's why I'm not looking at it as a big concern going forward with Randle. Now, if his shoulder next year starts fucking with his elbow, then we have a problem. If he starts having elbow issues next year, then you can see those things being connected because his shoulder and his elbow, because it was a nerve that was fucking with him. That's what he had to get the surgery. It was a nerve that was bothering him. Then I'm raising alarms. Then I'm sitting here with you and Phil saying like, yeah, the front office need to do something. That's the only reason why I look at it differently.
But Hector and Phil, hold on. You guys would agree the favorites to win the championship right now are probably Denver, Minnesota, Boston, probably those 3 teams, right? One of those.
Like Denver, Minnesota. Fuck those 4-leaf clover bastards.
I'm just gonna throw in them because again, but if you look at all those teams, right? Other than Boston without KP, everybody's healthy. Even if you want to go out and branch out and go to the Mavericks and OKC, those teams are all healthy too, for the most part.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is we got this far with not even our guys.
Yeah.
Right? We got this far.
Yeah.
So I'm saying if we could get this far with this amount, maybe going into next season, it's time to look at this team and say, let's get rid of these fucking guys that are always injured.
No, that's why I
Get
disagree.
somebody that could plug in here that plays, because look how good we are with just Brunson alone and these other guys, Hart, all the guys that have played. Right? We're gonna keep OG. We all know that.
Yeah.
But we make one little fucking change here with the Randall or Mitch or whatever. Guys, we're a lock for the ECF. A lock.
I think.
Look.
Go ahead, Phil. My fault. And again, shout out to the chat. We got over 311 people in the building.
No,
rocking
you're
out with
fine.
us right now. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that. Like my guy Blood of the Panther said, hit that like button, hit that notification button, and hit the reaction for you guys.
Emojis.
All the emojis. Cello in the chat says, "I'm a New Yorker who's a Laker fan, but I must say it feels great to get excited about the Knicks again. The last time I remember the New York Knicks having this energy surrounding them was Lynn Sanity." Go ahead, Philip.
See, this is where it's funny because I feel like both of you guys are right, in some way, shape, or form.
Well, I know I'm right. I'm not sure about Eddie.
No, Eddie's definitely got some right points here. Like, yes, it's definitely concerning, would be more concerning if Randall injured something that was attached to a previous injury, or re-injured a certain thing. But we went from saying he's an Iron Man, he plays all these games, doesn't get injured, got injured. Now he got injured again. Yes, it's a horrible way that he got injured, but you also have to look at, shoulder injuries can reoccur. Like shoulder injuries are one of those things that I was looking at one of the news journals. It was talking about statistically 1 out of 26 saw a 25% chance of a shoulder re-injury. 1 out of 26 people had after surgery, the shoulder have a re-injury within a year and a half. So a re-injury of a possible re-injury, a 25% chance of a possible re-injury on a guy who plays full-on aggressive bully ball. So you look at that, that's a high number. A 25% chance of re-injuring your shoulder is a big chance. Like I said before, if that was our one injury, no need to talk about it. But we have a roster full of guys that are up for contracts or can be moved, like that we have to discuss and figure out. Like, how do you bring back a team full of guys that you love, but 4 of those are injury prone? Like, bring back Bojan. He's got that history. Like, I see in the chat, everyone's like, there's no way we're letting OG go. Okay, but so if we're guaranteeing that we're going to bring back OG, who's got a history of injury, but we don't want to be in this position again next year where we have the possibility of injuries keeping us from progressing in the playoffs, we can't continue with 4 guys that have injury history. So there has to be some kind of pivoting in some way, shape, or form. Where's that pivot come? Because if you give a big contract to OG, are you also giving a big contract to Randall? Now that you're looking at both of them with history of injury, Bojan and Mitch, not huge contracts, but are you giving both who have injuries history a, contract? Are you keeping them? Are you moving them? So we talk about right now, like, it's not that Tibbs doesn't want to play anybody. It's that there's no one to play. Okay. So how do we fix that? Making sure that we have players that are available to play. So everyone's concern when we brought in Bojan and OG was, are we seriously signing guys with that much injury history when Mitch is out and Randall's out? And a lot of us were like, yo, pipe down. They're fine. They're healthy. They've been playing. And look, they're both injured. So that is a concern. It's not the end all be all. If it's one guy, maybe even 2, but 4 guys should bring up some kind of conversation. Like, how do you move forward with 4 guys that have an injury history?
Bojan, but just to be clear, Bojan was injured when we traded for him. The Knicks already knew that. He was already dealing with a left wrist injury already. So it's not like we traded for him and then he got injured. He was already injured when the team got with him. The shoulder thing, was that for tears or was that for was that tears for the shoulder, or what type of injuries were that?
Yeah, it was tears.
It was tears. Yeah, Julius Randle don't have a tear. He didn't have a tear in his shoulder.
Right?
Yeah, it was displaced. So there's different severities of it because for baseball players, Eddie,
you're
once
done.
you get you're done. Once
done.
once you tear your rotator cuff, that's it. You're done in baseball and stuff like that. So, but if a baseball player shoulder popped out of place, you don't have as many concerns, right, Eddie? You're not as concerned as if a pitcher tears his rotator cuff, you already know his career is done.
Santana.
Exactly. But if that same pitcher pops his shoulder out of place, you don't have that many concerns like you do. But it is a point that Phil brought up because when you look at surgeries, just surgeries in general, the likelihood is 27% after you have a surgery. It doesn't matter what type of surgery you have. There is going to be 27% of people do re-injured where they have the surgery, and that's more because of them not letting it properly heal. Right. Looking at the factors right now, rest, age, the type of injury, the type of surgery. So there's different factors that go into it. Are they causes for concerns? Absolutely, right? Especially when Julius Randle, he's up for a contract coming up, and if the Knicks are going to max him out, I definitely do not want a player that has a history of shoulder issues being maxed out the way he is.
Yeah.
So he could potentially be.
Randle's was a dislocation, right?
Yeah, but he still needed
okay.
surgery.
So the numbers actually
because of the nerve, because of the nerve damage.
So the numbers actually
because of potential of the nerve damage. That's why they had to do the surgery. They didn't want to pop it back.
The numbers even higher on a surgery due from dislocation. So it says that 90% of patients who dislocate it, like within the 20s, 90% of it have a chance of a re-injury of it.
Yeah,
it's not until you get to 40 years old that it goes down.
No, I just said 20% or 27% of surgeries are 20% of them lead to 27% lead to re-injuring because you're not resting properly, right? Especially in that shoulder area, you're not resting properly. So if you come back and your shoulder's not properly rested, you're gonna re-injure it.
So
it's just
a lot of people. That's the thing. Like, you guys know, I wanted Randle in these playoffs. Like, I felt like he deserved it. I felt like he earned it. I wanted to see him play.
Yes.
My question isn't based off of how do we trade Randle. My question is based off of 4 guys. And you made that point, Hector. We traded for Bojan while he was injured. And that, to me, is one of those, holy crap, we traded for a player that was injured while we had 2 guys out with injury. So like we knew that we were getting another injury into the scenario. Then OG goes down again.
No, because they rather trusted an injured Bojan over trusting Evan Fournier. And if it's up to me, I'm making that decision. Who would I rather have out there on the court, Bojan or Evan? 9 times out of 10, I'm taking Bojan.
So I'm with Eddie on the question of what next, though. That was a great dump, but how do we move forward with those 4 injuries? Where do moves get made?
I think Randle. I don't think Randle's going anywhere. I think Randle's staying on the team. I think Mitchell Robinson is staying on the team as well, just because of his contract and how favorable. It's a very team-friendly contract. It's going to come down to what is iHeart going to get in the offseason. Bojan's going to be gone. You could definitely put Bojan in any trade. If they decide
in a trade.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's going to be in a trade. He's not going to be on the roster next year. Is what I'm saying. He's most likely going to be put in the trade deadline. I know it's 12:05. We're just going to rock out for the next 15, 20 minutes. We got a hard stop at 12:20 just because Eddie has to stop. So we got a few people backstage. Like always, you guys are more than welcome to join the conversation. We're going to bring everybody up one at a time to make things sweet so we can get everybody involved into the conversation. I got my guy Chris N from Yankees Pod. I got my brother Nice Delomio backstage. And then I got Bobby backstage joining us. And that's the way that we're going to go. So I'm going to bring up my guy Chris. Chris, let me get a thumbie-wumbie. Let me get a thumbs up, my guy. It's my guy Chris. Chris, Josh Hart's evil twin brother. What are you doing in the locker room, bro? Did you stop eating fucking Mike and Ike's? All right, what are you doing? Go ahead.
I switched it up to Skittles, and the Skittles didn't work. Going back to Mike and Ike's tomorrow.
That's what I'm talking.
Listen, boys. Well, first off, I want to start by saying when Heck is doing this, he's using the fingers. Heck is on fire. He was on there using the fingers, and I'm like, all right, that's the Spanish part of him. He's on fire right now. Listen, I agree with both points. As far as the injury concerns, I think it's one of those things where, you know, Randall's injuries have been different, but at the same time, if it is reoccurring, whether it's an ankle 1 year, shoulder the next year, knee the following year, it's something that has to get addressed. I'm not sure who the odd man out is on that one. I kind of commented Mitchell Robinson being the odd man out there. I think you can get another big man who kind of does what he does outside of the offensive rebounding. I think that's going to hurt us. Obviously, we've seen game 3. But, yeah, as far as what I wanted to touch on was game 3. Now, I was in and out of the chat. I didn't hear you guys' points on that one, but I'm pretty sure Eddie was kind of – I'm going to be on Eddie with this one, where you just can't waste a game like that. You had Alex Burke going off. Dante DiVincenzo could not miss. And once that game was over where we lost, now obviously the shot of that kid's life. He'll never make that shot again. Never make it again. You know, running clock, and not for nothing, real quick, Halliburton passing that ball is a bad move. You are the superstar. You're the man over there. Passing that ball to that kid in that possession, and at that point it was like 4.8 running. He throws it up.
He went in.
Lucky shot, bad pass, not for nothing. Your star has to take that shot. You're in the same position as he is. But I kind of knew that game was going to bite us in the ass. You just can't waste a performance like that when your superstar isn't doing his best. So it bothered me that we lost that game, and it showed yesterday. I don't know if it was fatigue. I don't know if it was game planning. I don't know if it was home court. It could have just been Indiana was just on fire, and, you know, the home court. You had Pat McAfee screaming on the mic and all that, and, you know, maybe that played a part. But, yeah, hopefully we go back home and we make up for it, man, because don't want to say it's scary, but, you know, it's a series now. You know,
it is scary.
You know, it is scary, but, you know, when you have a state like Indiana that get excited for fucking pig contests and shit and rock collection competitions, you know, it's when the Knicks are in town, you gotta feed off that energy. And I honestly feel that being in Indiana, they just fed off of the crowd. They just fed off of the crowd the same way the Knicks feed off of the crowd in MSG. And we just got to come back better at home. If we lose the next game in the Garden, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's how I'm going to be. You see how Eddie just disappeared from the screen? That's how I'm going to be. Go ahead.
This is the thing, Chris.
Yep, go ahead, brother.
I don't give it up to celebrities getting on the mic or anything like that, because I was there. He didn't come out until we were down by like 38 points or something like that. So, like, we got our butts handed to us way before, and I was cracking up because I had one Knicks fan next to me, and they showed, like, this old rock and roller, and then they showed a whole bunch of, like, NASCAR drivers. Like, they showed, like, 2, and I was like, all right, celebrity row done for the game. And, like, he started cracking up. I was like, that's their celebrity row is those 3 chairs right there. But at
Phil,
the end of the day,
you may not like Ice Spice. I'll take Ice Spice over NASCAR drivers any fucking day of the week for my celebrity row. My fault, Phil.
But at the end of the day, you make a great point. You know, like, Jalen Brunson did not play well, and Dante DiVincenzo had a career game. The fact that we did not lock that up, that would have at least got us up 3-0. And if we lost, it would have been 3-1. We would have been going into MSG, only needing to lock up 1 game. And honestly, I don't believe what happened yesterday happens if they lost that game, because them getting that shot off and actually, like, making it and beating us is what bolstered that cockiness and that confidence in Halliburton that he hadn't had all series. Like, there was no shot yesterday that he was not going to take. Like, every single shot he got, he was taking, because he had that confidence. He had that cockiness. He didn't have that before they won that game 3. So we shot ourselves in the foot by letting them win that game 3. And at the end of the day, we have to say what Tibbs said, because so many of us are blaming it on, oh, it was a lucky shot. It was a lucky shot. Don't tell me about the last 2 minutes of the game. Tell me about the whole game before. We should have never let it come down to that last shot. Like, we had many opportunities to bag it up in the fourth quarter, and we didn't.
Mhm.
We kept letting them get back into it. We kept letting them take our lead away and then go up. Like, we should have never let it come down to that last shot in game 3. We should have bagged it up with a minute and a half left in that game. And that came back to bite us in the butt in this game 4 because they had a different arrogance to them from the get-go. And the arena fed off of every single minute of it.
Chris, positive words before you get out of here, because I want to bring up Nice and I bring up Rock and Ron and everybody else to join us. But last words, positive message for the Knicks fans.
So, positive words. I think we still win the series. I think it's still ours. Our talent can and our grit. Right, we've been through this all season. Losing a guy, winning. Losing another guy, winning. Losing another guy, it looks like it's over. We're still winning. So I still think we got the series. And you guys can touch on this. I'll leave on this one. Quick question: who do we miss more as far as this last game and the rest of the series, OG or Mitchell? Because obviously, like Phil just said, the offensive rebounding at the end of the game in Game 3 was huge. If Mitch is there, we get an offensive board there, or OG's points maybe in these last 2 games. Who do we kind of miss more right now? I'll let the next person come up if you guys want to touch on that. Salute my brothers. Always love. Have a good day, fellas. Let's go Knicks.
Chris, I appreciate you, my guy, and you're doing great things on Yankees Twitter, bro. My guy filled in for Jimmy Randazzo. You did a great job. I listened to the playback. Chris, my guy, keep doing your thing, bro. And as soon as the Knicks are done, we go back to doing our Yankees post games on Twitter Spaces. My guy, Nice Delomio, Nice. Let me get a thumbs up. Let me know you're ready to go. My guy, Nice. He's been cosplaying as Jesus Christ ever since he jumped on Twitter Spaces. But Nice Delomio, how you feeling, bro? I like the beard, bro. You looking good.
Hey, before anything, salute to everybody in the panel, salute to everybody in the chat. It's a blessing, bro, regardless.
The Dominican Jesus on screen, y'all. Dominican Jesus. Go ahead.
You already know. Hey guys, regardless of whatever happens, I feel proud of this team. I feel so freaking proud. At the end of the day, we just doing what we have. At the end of the day, like, we don't have a Julius Randle, we don't have OG, we don't have Mitchell. The series will be different if that was the case. Believe me, because it will be one of those that now we have something to argue about. But based on not having enough body, and especially the type of body that is going to impact the game, pulse. It's not much that we could say. Like, Brunson is giving his heart out. Josh Hart is playing incredible, and even Devo is playing incredible. We can't do more than what it is. At the end of the day, like, it's just one of those. Look at Minnesota, how they was rolling. They beat Denver twice at their own home court. You believe that based on the way it looks, they're going to win it all, and all of a sudden Denver goes to their home court and they beat them 2-2. So now the series is tied. This team, I'm just going to leave it at this. This team, it keeps on surprising us. Hopefully we get the surprise as well, that they just going to reach even deeper to get us this win. To me, it's a successful season if we at least we get to the Eastern Conference. That's it. I just want to see us get into the Eastern Conference, and after that, I don't even care. Like, now we understand what is the pieces that we are literally missing, so that next season we could get even further. But beside that, I appreciate this team. I appreciate the fan base, and I appreciate Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Devo. I just wish those three, especially those three, ends up staying as the Knicks until they retire, because I appreciate everything that they have done. They took the challenge, and believe me, look at those three. Just focus. All 3 of them was bench players. They took up the challenge. They took up on themselves to come to New York Knicks. They believe in themselves, and they said, listen, if we believe that much in ourselves, nobody wants to come to the Knicks. Let's make it happen in the Knicks, and look where we at right now. So much congratulations to them, and I appreciate our team with what we have. And beside that, salute to everybody in the chat, salute to everybody in the panel. Love you, Eddie, and love you, damn, Phil. Phil, what's good, Phil? I love
Chilling,
that
bro.
beer.
Beer gang, baby. Beer gang. Love it.
There we go. There we go. Let's just go
Appreciate
in
you, bro.
with power on Tuesday tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll turn this one and leave whatever happened on the last 2 games behind us. But beside that, love you guys and have a great one.
Love you, bro.
Nice, Delo Mio.
Hey,
I love you, my
before
guy.
before we bring the next person up, I got to share
Go
this with everybody. I just got an email. All right. I don't know what the heck this is, but it's from Fanatics. Yo, check this listing out, bro. This is crazy. It's got to be something wrong. There's a Daquan Jeffries.
Yeah, this is wrong.
He wore this jersey. They're selling it for $1,000.
Yeah, I would never buy this jersey.
Like,
I'm
what
sorry.
is happening? Like,
No shade on Daquan Jeffries. No shade. That's the last jersey I'm trying to buy for $1,000.
$1,000.
There's a lot of stuff that I could buy for $1,000. A Daquan Jeffries jersey is not one of them. What about you, Eddie? You buying that jersey?
Fuck no.
Yeah, Eddie curses me out when I buy V-Bucks for my Fortnite game, so he's definitely not spending $1,000 on Daquan Jeffries. But real quick, I just on Dios with the tomatoes in the chat. I just want to point something out. Shout out to my guy Nice, right? Because he said something else. He brought up Dante, Jalen, and brought up Josh Hart. We've come a long way, Knicks fans, because when I first started talking Knicks with my guy Nice or whatever, we were talking about Kevin Knox, RJ Barrett, and Frank Ntilikina. And now we're able to talk about Jalen, Dante, and Josh Hart. It's a breath of fresh air. I'm going to bring up my guy, Rock. Eddie, I know we got a hard stop, so I'll bring up Rock real quick and then Ron, and then we out of here once they give their takes. So my guy, Rock, how you doing? Let us know, Rock, what's the background today?
Yes.
We short
Nick.
for time. We short for time, so I'm gonna say it like this. Y'all all familiar. We all familiar with the Rocky series. His manager was Mickey. And there was a time in the movie where Rock was knocked out, man. And you know what he said? He said, "Get up, you SOB. I didn't hear no bell." What are we talking about here? Injuries, shoulders, failed season. We got games to play. What are we talking about here? Sticking with the boxing analogy, let me just, if for those that don't even know about basketball and just think we're entertaining on this podcast, let me just sum it up for you. In game 1, we hit him with a jab. In game 2, we hit him with another jab. In game 3, they got through with a little rabbit punch on us. That's what happened. And guess what? Last night, they hit us with an uppercut, right? But guess what? It's 2-2. It's the best 2 out of 3. We're not Minnesota going to Denver playing game 5. We're coming to the Garden. And everyone knows, yes, we did not have energy. I will not say we didn't have enough effort, but we didn't have energy that game, and it's understandable. And they ruined Mother's Day. They did for everyone. And that's okay. Because here's what's going to happen. The Garden is going to energize our guys like they do all players. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get this win. And everyone's going to be singing a different song. And I hate the fact that they're playing Game 6 and a possible Game 7 on a Sunday. Think about that. Friday night, Game 6. And then at 3:30 on Sunday, now we're going to go from the Garden to Indiana. Right? We can't go to a Game 7 is what I'm trying to say. We got to win tomorrow. We got to win in Indiana because we're traveling. I said it last week. We've been due for a clunker here, guys. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I was watching that game yesterday. I was like, this is an Eddie Presti game. Everything that you're saying, Eddie, is spot on, right? I had to do wellness checks on people after that game and during that game. So I just want to say to you guys, always keep the faith, always keep the support. And remember what Mick says. I didn't hear no bell. We didn't hear no bell. Come on, man.
Rock, my brother, thank you. You walked me off of the ledge. I appreciate that. I was really upset at Eddie and Phil. I didn't want to talk to them after today's show, but I appreciate you, Rock. You got me back on. They're my friends again. I like them. They're cool guys.
2 out of 3. We'll see.
Man, Rock, my brother, appreciate you, my guy. We're gonna let Rock down, and we're gonna bring up our guy Ron, my guy Rock, as he goes into the abyss. I love that. I love that. We need like a work on a graphic, so anytime Rock comes up, we could do that. Ron, I'm gonna bring up Ron, then I'm bring up Bobby, and then see how much time we got left before the closer, because we do have a hard stop at 12:30. Ron, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know you're ready to rock out. It's my guy Ron. My guy Ron, still Knicks fan. Salute. Ron.
Yo, shout out to Ron with Dexter on SNY.
Yeah, shout out to my guy Ron. He was with Dex last night. It went a bit longer than expected. That's why I was on later on with Dex because waiting for Ron to finish up. But Ron, you killing it as always. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, brother. I appreciate you guys, man, as always. Thank you for showing the love. And yeah, Dex told me, he was like, yeah, I'm going to go do this Yankee thing with this guy. I don't really want to do it, but it is what it is. I'm like, hey, I hear you, man.
Dex was like, yeah. Dex was like, I'm running just a little bit late. Just finishing this up. I'm like, all right, cool. Then he comes in. He's like, yeah, I was with Ron. And when he said he was with Ron, I'm like, I can't be upset. It's my guy Ron. So yeah, you can take as long as you want.
Yeah, man. We were having some good talks, and also, unfortunately, when I got there, they didn't. I wasn't in the system, so that took another like 15 minutes to get me in the system. So, but anyway, all right. So, guys, always good to see you guys. We go through it all, man. We've been here. We're gonna go through it. We have to get through it. But I'm just saying, listen, we are the voice of reason. The Knick faithful look to us. We are just like them, but we're the ones speaking on it. We got to be positive so that they can be positive. And I'm telling you, the Knicks are going to win tomorrow night. Could this series go 7 now, the way everything's playing out, and the fact that we know guys are hobbled, and the way that the freaking the basketball gods have screwed the Knicks all season, making us play 5 times against Milwaukee and Boston and all this crap, and now giving us 2 days. Like, we're not even getting 2 days rest. We're getting back-to-back games. It is what it is. The Knicks are that team, and if there's a team that can get through it, it's the Knicks. So I expect us to be good. We are going to be all right. Knicks fans, don't jump off that cliff. It's going to be all right. I said that yesterday on the show. I should have said know the ledge, but anyway.
Go ahead, Phil. I'll throw it over to you. Go ahead, brother.
Nah, this is what I love about, doing what we do is you can be constructive. You can, talk about what's there right in front of you, the good, the bad, the ugly. But you, at the end of the day, you go, I'm a fan. And at the end of the day, I want to rock and believe in my team. Like, for me, it's hard for me to see people go, oh, I'm a fan or I'm a content creator, and then throw your team out, like they didn't just give you, their heart and soul, like, to get to where they're at, like, at the end of the day, if we lose this series, that's why I can't say it's a failure, because if we lose this series, I can't ignore the fact that 3 guys who, like Rock said, who were bench players, came and took us to a 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference while being plagued with injury, while like losing some of our players in a trade that have been here for the last 4 years, and us figuring it out on the go. Like, I can't throw all of that away because of what happened last night. I can't throw away all the victories that we've had because we played a trash game. But yet I can still say, yo, Jalen Brunson, let me send you my Cash App. Reimburse me for having to sit through that last night. That was painful for me. Like, I'm here Monday, Wednesday, Friday talking about you. I just want my $400 back for last night's game. That's all I need. I could still say that, but still love the guy and still love the team. So I love that we get to do that. I love that we get to be in the midst of all that, like, throw away the team stuff and bring our fans back and be like, yo, let's still rock with our guys. Let's still believe that this series is ours. Let's still believe that we can do this. So I appreciate you, always having that, come back to reality, type moments. So, we love you, Ron.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
Right, even kill.
And let me just say, before you guys move on to the next guy, I know you got to get out of here. I just want to say once again, guys, as fans, we love the team. We love what they're doing. They're blue collar. They've shown us the grit, the heart. They've embodied what New York is about, and we love that about them. But let's be, understand they're humans. Let's have some humility and understand that. Could you imagine knowing everything that's happened to this Knicks team, all these injuries, but knowing that you're a better team than Indiana, being out there on that court, knowing that you can't get anything going, the momentum is all for them. You can't hit a basket. They're going crazy. The fans are going nuts. They're dancing over there. You got Halliburton acting stupid back into his stupid ways. You got Siakam talking crap. it would be everything in my body not to rock somebody over there. Like, these Knicks have shown restraint. They have been good. They've taken it. Let's understand that it's just as hard as it was for us to watch. It must have been doubly hard for that team to go through that on that court. So shout out to them, man.
Yeah, definitely. Ron, my brother, appreciate you like always, my guy. Make sure you guys tap in with the folks from Still Knick Fans, our guy Ron and our guy John as well.
All right, before we bring up the closer, if you guys can, up in that top right, you'll see that little little barcode up in the top. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what keeps us being able to do what we do, keeps us being able to do giveaways, keeps us being able to do watch parties. People been hitting us up like, hey, are you coming back for, going to do something for ECF if we get there? Or can you do this here or there? Yes. The answer is yes, we want to. The support is what keeps us being able to do those things. So if you can, take out your phone like this, scan that at the top right, and that gives you the opportunity to bless the channel in any way, shape, or form you see fit. It allows us to not get robbed by YouTube, and it keeps us being able to do bigger and better things. So please just buy us a coffee, and we'll be able to keep on doing what we're doing and raise the excellence bar week in and week out.
Yes, and just so everybody know, we are sitting over 10,000 right now on the reactions. If you guys can keep on smacking those reactions, let's get over 15,000 before the show is over. We got Jay Boogie backstage. Jay Boogie, we're gonna bring you up right now. Let me get a thumbs up. Okay,
and I want to apologize to anyone else that's still backstage. We have a hard stop in 3 minutes. We have some things going on. Eddie has something he has to get to. I have something I have to get to. So we are going to wrap up this week with Jay Boogie. And then we will get to the rest of you guys next week. We are so sorry. Time is crunched this week. But Jay Boogie, the guy that led the symphony, we appreciate you. It was fun hopping on that track. First time I've been able to connect with you since it dropped. So shout out to all the MCs that were on that. Trippy, Trav, Papa, Drugs. I know I'm missing somebody. But shout out to all you guys. And of course, shout out to the guy who led the symphony, Mr. Boogie.
Appreciate it, man. Salute. 3 capital S's. Bless, health, happiness to everybody. Again, I want to shout out to all the mothers and say Happy Mother's Day, because every day is a Mother Day. So it's not like I miss Mother's Day shouting it out on this show. Shout out to everybody's moms and blessings to the heavens where anybody has moms up there. Shout out to the show that everything that he did provided for, the North Carolina watch along. Great content, great situation that was happening for us. And shout out to CT Pittman. After it was all over, me, CT Pittman, and Jiggaman himself, we sat down and had an office conversation for about 2.5 hours after everybody was gone. And it's just so beautiful and great to get to know some of these people that you see inside these chats, speaking texting each and every day. When you get a chance to see and meet these guys off hands, it's just a beautiful relationship that you appreciate. Outside of just the orange and blue that we love so much, man. So shout out to everybody that showed up to, the watch along, and shout out to everybody, that was there. And make sure the next time a watch along is in your area. If you didn't, have a chance to make that one, make sure you make the next one. No matter where it is, what city, what state, wherever Knicks watch along is happening, that trust and believe we got fan base and chat members that are there, But shout out to the squad. I'm not going to get on the squad too much because it's hard when you have to turn around and you have to play within 42 hours. You play at 7 o'clock and they have to play at 3:30. That's 42 hours. But if you take back another 8.5 hours, them guys got up at 7 o'clock that morning just to eat and start getting preparation for that game before they even went over there. So a lot of legs and everything, energy and effort, it was not there. And them guys did what they were supposed to do. Let them have their one shining moment, but you're not going to reach for no damn stars, because come Tuesday night tomorrow, I'm going to shut the door down on you. And then I look to eliminate them guys come Friday, because we'll be back on regularly scheduled program. 3 days off for the next game. That's a lot of energy that them Knicks. But we're going to go ahead and handle our business, you know what I'm saying, inside the Terror Dome. That's what Chuck D calls it, you know what I'm saying. So shout out to everybody, you know what I'm saying. Stay believing and keep having the faith, you know what I'm saying. And please go support that Knicks Symphony. It's out on all platforms. That is history. There's never been another sports franchise that's had a symphony just like the one we just laid down. That is there for us, you know what I'm saying? It costs you nothing, like it costs you nothing to hit the like buttons. Please go support that record. Appreciate the guys you listen to, you hear to on podcasts and on Twitters. Show them guys that you appreciate, that, you know what I'm saying, the hard work and energy that them guys paid and spend their money to go lay their verses down and for us to do what we had to do. That is a song for the ages of us right now, you know what I'm saying? And when we handle our business and the rest of this Pacer situation, don't start rocking to it again, because we get ready to get up out of this second round and get to this ECF. So, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate, love everybody. Continue having a great day. Let's go Rangers tonight. Close that out. Let's go Rangers tonight. Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's.
That's our guy Jay Boogie, the closer. And it's no other way that we should finish the show just by doing it like that. How's the button? This is why we need Celso to hit the buttons. So Phil, I'll throw it over to you. Get your last words and then throw it over to Eddie so we can get up out of here.
Yeah, you know, like I said, keep the positivity. Keep rocking with your team. You can be constructive. Just don't be foolish about it. Don't attack other people. Like, that's just nonsense. Not necessary. Let's go into this next game. If you're in the building, bring that energy. Bring that energy at MSG. Make it to where Halliburton feels foolish and silly. Like, it would be a beautiful thing to come back and blow them out in the Garden and send them back to Indiana feeling deflated. So let's give them a little dose of their own medicine. Let's bring it back here. Hopefully, I will be at game 6 with my family. And until next time, we'll rock with y'all. And we appreciate all the love and support. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And thank you guys for being a part of what we're doing.
Eddie, curse him out.
Must win, baby. Must win.
Eddie,
must win.
Eddie, curse me out. I like when you curse
Go
me out,
fuck
Eddie.
yourself, Hector, all right? Randall's injuries are more than what you're saying. But with that said, game 5, let's go Knicks.
Shout out to the chat. Shout out my guys, Eddie, Presti, Phil, all caps, and of course, Celso, who couldn't be here this morning. And until next time, drink some water, say something nice about yourself, and don't kill your goldfish like Eddie did when he was a child. Deuces.